Okay, I'm recording now the lesson. And yep, first we are going to work with the site plan, or, well, I don't know. No, we will start working with the section perspective and the callouts, and then at the end we will work with the site plan. But this is what we're going to do today. We're going to work with callouts, and then we're going to define all these elements using the same tools that we used for the midterm. You remember that we can use detailed components, and then we can change the color of the hatches or these elements. So it's not easy. It takes time, but this is what makes a difference between something well-defined and something that it's not. And as I have told you before, if you don't make a decision on where this bolt is or how you connect the waterproof membrane, the roofing membrane, to the skylight, others will do it for you, and it will be worse. Okay, so take care of these kind of details, because if you don't worry or if you don't take care of these details, others will do, and it will be worse. Because at the end, you have the liability for all these, for the performance of this detail. So if you don't design it, yeah, you are just in the hands of others. Okay, so let's work with this. This is the Parish Art Museum, and this is in the video I showed you how to get to this point. Okay, so here in this museum we have something different, because there are parts in which we have a concrete wall with a bench like this, and then we have the regular wall that we have in this. Okay, so this wall, it's the wood, thermal insulation wood, and this is the same thing we have in the roof. In the roof we have the wood, thermal insulation, and then we have this metal or zinc or aluminum layer for a waterproofing. Okay. Okay, I think I have to insert a window somewhere. So I want to work on this callout, but we are going to work with the callout with a window here. Okay, so there will be a window, and we need to solve this top part of the window, and then the bottom part of the window. In the other building, this detail is going to be the same. Okay, so the roof, the window, and the wall of the window, it's exactly the same. And the connection between this wall and the floor slab, yeah, so they are both, yeah, we have this overhang, and then we have a wall, and we will work with this as well, because, okay, so let's do it. First, on this 3D view, I'm going to, okay, I have already saved this. So on this 3D view, I'm going to insert this is the top view. Okay, so on this element, I have a skylight here. So I want to this is the bench. So I want to insert a window here. What is the size of this window? Well, you see that we have this bench here. I think in the other building there's a bench as well. So we need to start the window here at the top of this bench, and then we have to go all the way up until the structural element. Okay, so this structural element here. So the window will go from this point to that point, from the top of the bench to the bottom of this beam here. Okay, remember that always that when we open something, when we open a window, a door, or a skylight, we need a structural element limiting the opening. Okay, so we cannot open something in the wall and that's it. We need to create a structure, a frame, and then on that frame, we can fix the window, the door, or the skylight. What is the, I think there's a section somewhere. Yep, got this section. And we can go from, yeah, I think I have a level here at the top of this bench. And okay, so we have the beam here. Okay, so the window is going to be from this level to that level here. So if I annotate, okay, the height of this window is 11 feet, 7.5 inches. And the width, well, the width doesn't matter. So I'm going to open architecture, window. I'm going to work with a fixed window. Then I'm going to change it, but so far I'm going to work with a fixed. And I'm going to edit type. Edit type, duplicate, and I want a window. The height is 11, 7.5, and the width, well, let's say 7. So the height is 11 feet, 7 inches and half. The default seal height, I think the bench it was 3 feet. I'm not sure. Let's say 3 feet, and I want the width to be the same as the height. Okay, and then I click OK, and on the 3D view, I'm placing the window there, and then if everything goes well, it will be here. Yeah. Well, it's here, but then I need to align this there. And if everything goes well, yes, so this is just at the bottom of this beam. Okay, I'm going to use and now we have, I always recommend use the glass inside. Okay, so you know that you press the space bar. If you just click, select the window. If you press the space bar, you can change the orientation of the glass. I always recommend do this. So the glass is inside, and then we have this protecting the glass itself. Well, if you want to do it otherwise, you can, but I think this is safer. The important thing is that this wall and this is the structural element, this is the wall, and now we are going to work with that call out. Okay, so I created some call outs here, but now I want to work with this one, because with this one I will be working with this part, and then I will be working with the skylight here, and then we need to solve that one. But let's create a call out. Here. Okay, this is it. We are going to work with a bigger scale. Okay, so here we have everything we need to define the. So as always, at this scale, I mean for a section, this detail level is fine. Okay, so if we bring this 1 to 8 at 1/8, sorry, this level of detail, it's fine. But now this detail is 3 to 1, 3 inch to 1 foot. Yeah. So we need to include more details here. Well, first, we can work with this and we can create parts, okay? Because we are going to define different elements. So we are creating parts. And now if I select this is the thermal insulation. So I can always override graphics in view by element. And then I can make it the surface pattern. I don't want a surface pattern. I want a cut pattern. No, I want a cut background. Okay, so I make it visible, and then I will select the color that I always select, but I don't know because I like this color. You can select color. It's 200. And, okay, we have this yellowish color for the thermal insulation, and we have to do something similar for this, or even better. Okay, you can do this. Okay, you can select this part and then override graphics in view. But since we are working with the same thermal insulation here, we can select the roof itself. We can edit type, and by editing this type on the rigid insulation, I can work with the appearance. Okay, so this is the I have already done this, so I have worked with this, and now the rigid insulation is yellow, and it should work in all these elements. Why isn't it working? Okay, it works here, but it doesn't works here, but it doesn't work in this callout. Oh, because I don't have the realistic. Okay. So you get what I did. Depending on what we want, we can work with these realistic colors for the details. Well, it's not bad. It's nice. Or we can work with the hidden line. This is more professional. I mean, working with hidden lines is more professional working with details. But even if you work with consistent colors or the realistic view, I don't know. What is it? Do you like with colors, or do you like with or do you like black and white? They are not answering. Okay.
I feel like colors are easier to read, but I hear what you're saying about professionalism.
Okay, so let's work black and white with this. Unfortunately, if we are doing this, then we have to go all the way with overriding graphics by element, and I don't want to see the surface. I don't want to see the surface pattern or the foreground. I want the background to be yellow. Okay. And now with this one, well, that's an issue, because if you if you select this roof, if we have used the roof by extrusion, we can't divide this in parts. So by doing this, I think I will, okay, I'm going to do it just for the sake of doing different things. I'm going to work with the region, with the masking region. And now I'm going to work this way. Okay, and now I select just the masking region. I override graphics in view. And the background has to be 250, 250. It doesn't work. Why? Because I don't want the foreground. Okay, so now we have this, and we can work with the installation, but before doing this, well, we can work with the installation here. I need to know the if I select the roof, because I don't remember the thickness of the thermal insulation. It was region insulation 10 inches. So if I insert this, I need a 10-inch element. Yep. Okay. And this one, well, before doing this, I want to work with it because this is not acceptable. This is too, yes, it's not enough detail, and it doesn't have anything to do with this, with the fine detail or whatever. But there's another thing we have to work with. We have to work with line weights. At this scale, the line weight, it doesn't matter. But if we reduce the scale, then the line weights matter. And well, we have to be careful with that. Okay. So far, we're not using this. And now we have to insert something more detailed here. And where can we find it? Well, it's quite easy because we always have to use insert, a family. And now one of these families, we have the detailed items. And here there should be windows or openings. Okay, so we have openings here, and we're using wood. Okay, so you have metallic doors and frames, wood doors, but now we are using wood windows. And here we have all the details that we have for wood windows. What kind of detail do we have here? Is it a hang or a projecting or sliding? I don't think it's a sliding door. I think it's projecting. So we have the projecting head section, the projecting sill section. Are there any other? Okay, we have another projecting here, window head. What's the difference between these? Okay, I'm going to use this one, clad wood projecting head and clad wood projecting. You have to make sure that you select two families that are connected. You cannot have at the top a projecting window and at the bottom a sliding window. Okay, so make sure that we are selecting the head section and the sill section from the same family, the projecting window, clad wood. Okay, so we're selecting these two, and then we open. And now we can annotate and we can insert a detail component. Okay, so on the detail component, we have this head. Yeah, this is the head section. So let's place it here. What is in and what is out? I would say that this is just the other way around. So we can mirror. Okay. And well, this is like blind outdoors, or it can be indoors. I don't know. Since we have placed our window here inside, so let's assume that this is inside and this is outside. Okay, so we can do that. And now we have to place, yeah, so we have to edit this family. So it's not that easy. Okay, so this is the verge of this window. The window is there. By the way, we can hide the original window here because we don't need it anymore. So don't delete it, but just hide in view the elements because we are going, and now we are going to work with this. Okay, and now we can edit the family. So what do we need? First, we need this element to get up to this point. Okay, so first we need to measure the distance between this and this. It's 10 inches. Okay, so we need this to be a 10-inch element. So let's do it. Double click here on the family. And now we have this. If we create a line from this point to this point with 10 inches, where is the inch? Okay. So now you can select this one and you can drag it up to this point. Make sure that then you delete this line and then you load into the project, overwrite the existing version, and now we have done this. Okay, so that looks much better. As you can see here, probably we will need to nail or to use bolts to connect these to the, and here we have a thermal insulation. So we can either, since they are parts here, if we show shape handles and we move it up, something like this. So at the end of this, in this wall panel, here we need to have something structural in this element. So we can create another annotate region. Okay, so I'm going to create this, and by finishing, I override. And the surface pattern, now I want to use material that can be wood. I don't like it. So let's use the diagonal lines. And yeah, I think it's a question of the scale. So we can select the diagonal down and we can reduce the spacing. Even more. Say 2. I have reduced it. Okay. So you see that it's there. If you refresh the screen at some point, you will, yeah, well, it's there, but sometimes it doesn't show up. Okay, but and I think we can also work or just by increasing the scale of this. Because sometimes it's a question of working with lines or working with the scale of the drawing. Well, we'll see that this is good enough so far. Okay, so we needed this element because that part of the top part of the window, this frame, it has to be connected with something structural. We cannot nail this to rigid insulation. Rigid insulation doesn't bear any weight. So we need that structural element here. And now that I see this, I think I can change my mind and I can, this is not one, okay, 5. Okay, now this is the right proportion. Okay, so once I have done this, now I think I can go to the rigid insulation. This is not 10 inches now. It's, I think it was 7. No, it was 8. Okay. And now here, thanks, good enough. We can work with this more. If we open the family, we can extend the lines. Okay, we can extend the lines and then we can crop this here because we are repeating the. Okay, so this is well, it's not bad. Probably we need to do something with the wood here. Yep, so let's override this in view. This is a structural element, so probably we can use the same hatch we have used here for that structural element. So on this cut pattern, the foreground, I want to use the same diagonal down. I think it was this one. Yeah, the same. Okay. And because we need to differentiate between something that it has a section and something that it's not in a section. For example, these two elements are in a section view. So we can also override graphics in view. And we can use the cut pattern. It was this one, diagonal down. Okay. So now all the things that are made of wood and are in a section, we have the same hatch. Here we have a different hatch because this is a different element. This is the window itself. And now we have these parts. So how can we do this? Let's say, I don't know, override graphics. I'm going to use the cut pattern, nice grayish, something that it's easy to remember, 200, 200, 200. Yeah, I like it. And then we need this. Well, I could have selected both at the same time. Okay, and finally we have this. The problem we have with this element, this is the roof. Since I have created this mask region, now we can select filter and select roof. And now I can override graphics and the cut pattern. I can use the same gray. Okay, so we have the same color code for the thermal insulation. Then we have the wooden element with this hatch. And finally, we have the plywood. And finally, we have a different hatch for the window itself. Okay, what's next? Now I think it's time to work with this. Yeah, I think that works because we have the section element with the thick line. So the structural elements, which are these beam systems, and the main beam here, they are made of, yeah, so they are, we have this thick line. Yeah, I think it works. Okay, so what's next? Next, we have to work with this, and I think we have to put a lot of thought into this skylight, and then we need to understand how this works. Okay, so look at this. It's complicated because we have a lot of elements, or something like that. Yeah. Okay, so we have to end up doing something like this. Do we have a skylight detail? I think we do. Insert family. Here in openings, we have skylights, flat skylight, and pyramid skylight. So we have flat skylight. So now in annotate, I can insert a detail component. Yep. And now I have to rotate. Probably using align will work better. And now I have to move this here. Well, since the skylight is bigger than that, and I think we can do the same. We can hide in view this one, and now we can work with this element. As far as I remember, there was another detail for Skylight. So let me go to the families. These are openings. Okay, metal frame skylights. Section. Let's try to insert this one. And now annotate, detail. Okay, I'm going to use this one. And I'm going to get rid of this. Okay, so what do we need here? Now we have to look at this this element. We have this frame. We don't have the glass, so we have to make up the glazing here. And we don't have the bolts. We have this shape, and we need something structural to attach this shape to the, okay, so you see that here we have, what is this? It's curve, okay, so it's something made of wood, and we have to attach this to this element made of wood. Here, yeah, we have the same thing here. Okay, so you can see that we have this element. This is what we have in Revit. And now we have to work with all that stuff here. But first, we need this wooden element. Okay, so we need this structural element so that we can bolt this metallic element to something structural. Okay, so we have this at the verge of this, but probably we need something else. We need annotate another region, and I'm going to create something like this, downstream. There you go. And I think that belongs to the same family as this. Is something structural that is section. Okay, so I'm going to override graphics in view, and I'm going to use what is this? Diagonal down, this one. Yeah, the problem is the angle. I don't like it. Okay. So something like that. And the line, I think I'm going to change the lines. The projection lines, and I'm going to increase the weight 3 or 4 or 5. No, 5 is too much. 4. Yeah. Okay, so this is something made of wood, and it's something structural, and then this element is attached to this wooden element as we have here. Okay. As you can see, there is a gap between this element and the structural, so we can always move this. No. I want to move it. Okay. I want to move it slightly up. Okay. And now I have to insert something like this, which is the roofing membrane. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I can do this by means of line. So I can go to annotate, detail line. And now I can change the this to hidden, and I can change the weight. acoustics. Yeah. Okay, so this is something, this is waterproof. And finally, you remember that that was a zinc. So we had the plywood here, then we have the thermal insulation, we have something waterproof, and then we have the zinc. This is what we did for this roof. Okay, so yeah. So this is the plywood, the thermal insulation. This is the waterproof membrane. And then we have something here. So we need to add a layer. We can add another detail line. And I can use offset. How much? 0 and 1/4. Yeah. And finally, I'll close detail. Okay. Okay. Well, this looks like a real detail. So here we have the skylight, and then we only need to include the glass. And how is it? Yes, so we have the glass here, the double glazing. Yes, so we have to include double glazing here in this space. Okay, but it's not bad. And finally, we have to insert text. So as you remember, we have the text, and now we have to define all these elements. This is double glazing, and then we can select this, copy, copy. There are a lot of things to define the double glazing. This is the plywood. This is the thermal insulation. This is the structural beam. Okay, and now you can copy all these elements. Okay, frame profile, roof membrane, double glazing unit, insulation, plywood, finish internal size, whatever. You can you have a lot of information here that you can copy. Okay, so that would be the first call out, and then we can include this call out on our presentation on this one. So this we can insert this one. Okay. So this is one of the heats. Here we have the detail, the skylight. Remember that I haven't included the double glazing here, so you need to complete this with the double glazing. And then you need to place the rest of the text here. Okay. And now we can work with that detail, with this callout. So let's do that on section 1. Yep, we have this. And okay, so we need another callout. And that would be callout number 2. Yeah, this one. Okay, so here we have the bench. This is the structural slab, the floor. And here we have the window. Okay, we don't need this to be that big. So with that window, we have to annotate, insert another detail component. And now this is not the skylight. It is the clad wood seal section. Okay, so now we're talking about the seal section here. I think I made a mistake. Yep, I made a mistake because this is clearly the outer part, and here in the other call out, I made a mirror. Okay, so this should be, I'm going to create another mirror. Okay, I find out now because if we look at the seal, okay, so you have to move the water outdoors. So if you mirror this, you will be moving the water indoors. Okay, so it doesn't make any sense. Let's hide this element in view. And now again, we need to extend this up to this point. How much? You see that I have placed this here. So we will need something to seal. This is the bench, so this is a concrete bench. And then this is the wooden window. So we need something to seal this, like silicone or a gasket or something like that. Okay? But I'll do that later. But now I think I have to work with this one. And what is the length between this and this? Okay, it's not 9.5. Great. So now I have to double click here. And now the distance between this point and the end of this element, I will create a line. And 9.5 inches. And now I'm going to move this. Delete. And load into the project. Which project? The parish. Right, existing version. Okay, fine. Okay, that works. And now I think I need to create, as I did here in the other callout. No, this one. Okay, so we need this element so that we can nail or bolt this element to something structural. So I think we need this here. We can move it down. We can move the thermal insulation down. We can move this up. This is gonna be the thermal insulation. So in the surface pattern, we need the yellow color. the other way around. Because we have to do this with the cut pattern. Yeah, so. Go. And here we are going to need a structural element. So let's go to annotate, masking region. To this point. Don't worry if you have a gap, because in the real life we will have gaps, okay? And we will end up sealing these things with silicone, but this is what happens in the real life. So don't worry if you have a gap between this element and this, because this is what will happen in reality. And now we can override graphics by element, and that was the 1 point diagonal. Well, I don't remember. You have to make sure that you use the same hatch as you used before. And yeah, now I think we have to work with this is going to be difficult. Translation. Okay, there's something here. I'm not going to explain this today because I think it will take longer. So I'm going to leave this until Thursday, because the connection between the slab, this is the floor slab, and the wall, it's going to be difficult because this is out, this is in. So we need some waterproof layer here, and it will take longer. Okay, but anyway, we're working with that. If you want to make it perfect, we can always use a masking region here, and we can fill this gap. And this gap here. Okay. Yeah, we did this before in the midterm, and probably we need to fill this with a solid, something almost black. Okay. Yeah, so that will be like the sealant or the silicone. I think that scale is too small. So let's make it 3. Yeah, now it looks better. And yeah, probably we will need something else here. Okay, so this is the structural element of the wall, and there's another gap here, and probably we will need to fill this gap with another region. something like that. Okay, remember that this is concrete. This is by element. Yep. The surface, the cut pattern, it has to be, what is concrete? Concrete. And I think I'm going to add here a gray color. Yeah. Because this is a concrete bench. And yeah, this is concrete, this is wood, and this is the window. Okay, very good. This is not finished yet because, well, if I want to explain something else today, and if I start explaining this, we won't be done by the end of the class. Remember that you have to use the same criteria. So if you have used this plywood with a gray color, then you need this plywood to be the same gray color. And well, the rest of the things that we have already, I think the section line here is thicker than others, so that's good. Okay, but try to do this, and finally on this one, we can use callout number 2. The scales are different, so you either make that smaller or that bigger. I'll make it that bigger. Okay. Well, this is about the page itself, so make sure that it fits in the sheet, and make sure that both are the same scale and both are aligned. They are aligned, but there's something wrong with this because this glass should be aligned. Okay, so make sure that those small details, okay, that this glass is aligned with this one, because it should be that way. Okay, so that looks like a real project. We have all the structural elements. We have the plywood, the thermal insulation, and then we have a nice window, detailed window. And if you zoom in, there always should be a difference between the level of detail that we have at that scale. Okay, so this is the detail that we have here. And this is the detail that we have in the callout. So there should be a difference. If you zoom in, there should be a difference between this and that. Okay, so as I told you, if we open the save. If we open the other project, so you remember that we had this section and this callouts and this detail and that details, they are the same. Okay, so the only thing is that the bench, I think it's facing inwards in this project. In the other one, we had a bench outwards, and in this project, as far as I remember, there was a bench in this area. Yeah, so you can see that we have a bench, a wooden bench here indoors. It's not outdoors, but indoors. But okay, so instead of having the bench here at this side, it has to be facing indoors, and that's it. But you can insert the same, we have the same wall, you can insert the same details for the window, the top window, and the sill. And here we have a structural element, and somewhere there should be a, oh, in this case, the beam system is in the other direction. Okay, it's the same, and we have the same roof. And here, this is slightly different, so we'll talk about this on Thursday. Okay, but probably that skylight here, this is what I mentioned before. So I think it would be better if that skylight has a slight slope here facing or sloping down, not sloping this direction, but always we have to help water to get out of the building. So I think if we had the slope here, that would be better. It's up to you, but you can insert the same detail here, and probably we need to work with the, yeah, so we need to copy something like that. It's gonna be the same. We only need to create a wall that goes up. Okay, so there's a structural element here, and then we need to, yeah, we need to close this gap, and we need to insert the wall here that goes up, and then here we have the same detail that we had with the other one. Okay, so these two callouts are exactly the same. You can start working with them, and probably on Thursday I will explain these details here. And when it comes to the, well, there are two things that we have to do with this project we haven't done yet. On the 3D view, active, okay, so we have to define what slice of this building we're going to study. We can hide this view, and we can work with the section box now. Yes, so we have to decide what slice of the building we want to show. So it has to be something that, yeah, so we need something like this. We need to understand that we have structural elements here. We have a section through the window. We have to solve this, but it's the same as the other detail. The wall to floor transition. And this is because we need a lot of waterproofing elements and flashing and things here. Okay, so we will explain that on Thursday. And then you have to select a nice view for this, and probably some transparency. Okay. And probably here we can use another graphic display option. And then the crop view. What is the crop view? I'm going to rename this one. And on one of the sheets, we need to insert this one, this perspective. And probably that scale can be bigger. Okay. And then we can explain here other callouts. Okay. And I think this is a nice document. We shown here, and then probably we can work here with callouts. Because with this we see the truss, we see the structural beam system, we see the windows and the skylight. Okay, so this is all. Yeah, I think with this view, we can understand the building because all the structural and the construction elements, we have the retaining walls or the foundation, the slabs, the roof structure, the wall structure, and then the skylights and windows. Yeah, so I think this view, it's like the view that we saw for that building, el corte axonometrizado con materialidad. Well, this is the same thing that we have in this view. Okay. Now we have like 10 minutes, so I will explain the site plan now. So for the site plan, we don't have to trace this. We only need to understand what's going on here. So we see that there's, okay, so this is on that cliff, and that goes down dramatically here. So that's why we have all these contour lines very close to each other. And here we have a gentle slope, so the slope is not as steep in this side as in this side or that side. Okay, so there's like a triangle. We have a great slope there, and this slope is not that. Okay, so we are going to try something like this, but I don't want you to insert this and start tracing all these lines, so I'll do it very quickly. And this is just to remind you of working with contour lines in Revit. Maybe you remember how to do that, but if you don't, we'll do it now. So this is the when we are working with a massing inside, we have to work in this inside, and then we are working with massing inside and topper surface. And with the topper surface, well, before doing this, I need to remember in the section about levels. Okay, so level 0 is this one, and then this is level -12. Okay. So I'm going to start creating a topper surface at level -12. So let's go to site, topper surface, and here in elevation, I'm going to type -12. And it was like a triangle. And then radically from level -12, I'm going to go to level -50. And I'm going to be very close to these lines at the beginning. Because the closer the lines, the steeper the slope. And then I'm going to separate this here. Then another radical leap until level -100. So again, close to these lines here. And something different there. And finally, to level -150. We can always keep on editing the surface, but let's see what we have done. And I don't want to show the section box. Okay. Yeah, so something like this. This is it. We have a steep slope here, and then we have something not as steep as something like that. And then with the section box, we can crop this view. Okay, this is enough for the site plan. Just convey the idea that this is on the edge of a mountain, and I think that's it. But when you're, especially when you're taking the cover page, because now we don't have anything for the cover page, make sure that in this plan we have the contour lines. Okay. I think something like this can be good enough.
Should we put in a building pad or should we not worry about that?
The more the better. I mean, we have to create a site plan. So for the site plan, let's see. We have to hide all these. Yeah, I think if you put like a building pad, something leading to this, that would be nice. Okay. But yeah, something. So this is the site plan. Crop view. Here. Yeah, so in the site plan, try to elaborate this, try to insert some elements like trees or something, yeah. And yeah, a building path would be great. Because the access to that building, you remember that the access to the building is through this funicular or through this train, okay? But at least we don't have any path here, at least on this side. But I think in the other side, yeah, this side, well, you can try to do something here.
Yeah, I was saying more so for the building itself. Like you see right where the tram goes into it on that last picture, how there's a pad there and it's kind of recessed into the site itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's up to you. I mean, don't lose a lot of time because the important thing here is the construction documents, but try to do something nice. So don't submit this site plan without any shadows or without any details. So try to do something. That's it. Okay, but again, if it takes you 30 minutes, that's all you have to. That's all it has to take you to complete the site plan. But yeah, with but the most important document will be this one, the section with the callouts, and this one. And here we will insert probably a 3D detail. So we will have a 3D call out here to define the skylight in 3D Pro. Okay, so I'll explain that on Thursday. But that's it. Okay, so we need a cover page, a nice view, then the site plan. You can add more contour lines, doesn't matter. This one was the, yeah, we need two plans, okay, defining all the building, at least the roof and the first floor plan, that's all we need. And then these are the two more important documents, the 103 and 104, because here we are talking about the construction elements. Okay, any other questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, on Thursday I will finish explaining this, and next week we have the final submission. It's on the 20th. Okay, so on Thursday the 20th, it's the final submission. As I told you in the other, well, I told, yeah, but we are not the same student. You are, if you submit something by Thursday the 20th, I will give you some feedback. And if you want to fix something, you will have time to fix it until when is the, we don't have exam, but if we had, what would be the date of the exam? If we have class Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. Okay, so on Thursday from at 3 p.m. is the deadline for, if you don't submit a document by Thursday the 27th at 3 p.m. that's the last deadline. Okay, so from Thursday the 20th until Thursday the 27th, you can submit something. Okay, you have time. Even if you submit something before I give you some feedback, you have time to fix it. But if you submit something this week, you will have a grade, but I won't give you any feedback. Okay, so if you want feedback, you want to place the final assignment on Canvas by this day, by Thursday the 20th. But then you have one more week, either to fix things, if I tell you to fix things, or if you haven't submitted this on time, to submit it. Okay, but the deadline is Thursday the 27th.